Hello.
Hello.
Hello! You can say hello too, Matt.
I did. I said howdy.
Oh, gee, there we go. We're off to a good
right.
start, ladies and gentlemen, everybody else out there.
How y'all doing?
Welcome, dear listeners out there in the ether. Once again, creeping up to that proverbial fire. Trusty yammer at you about all things Age of Sigmar and whatever else you feel like, because you have arrived at a channel and pressed a button. But generally it is always strikes last.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing?
Yeah, at our usual always striking late. So again, be prepared for us to be a little giddy and tired. But
this is when I'm at my
not you,
strong.
Matt.
I'm a night owl. I'm a night owl at heart. So this is perfect.
Good. I know. I told you the time we'll record. You're like, yes, finally.
It worked out well for me.
Yeah, I'm happy, bud.
So today we have Matt on. Matt.
We do.
Matt's going to talk. Not just your normal Matt. We got the better Matt. We got the better Matt here. He brought a presentation, everybody. Y'all want to know how to play Sylvaneth like a boss, a rock star, and also somebody who kills a giant dragon, as you can see from this presentation. Matt's here to let us know. We're going to do this.
This is one of my favorite photos that I've ever taken from a game. It's just like, it's everything that I want. It's all my models pushed up the board, attacking the big centerpiece. This is not from the tournament. That I think is maybe the centerpiece of this.
No, that looks like a meat hammer. If I'm gonna,
that is Andre's beautiful Karazai.
I recognize that Karazai, and I recognize the table in the background because I think my name might be on it, but not the point.
Not for nothing. That Karazai looks so betrayed, like in this particular photo, like the thematicism of like the trees having turned on him.
Yeah.
It's gonna it's gonna sink into a pile of splinters. Just his little claw is gonna come out and slowly fall in.
He didn't see it coming. Didn't see the forest for the trees.
Yeah.
Oh no, starting strong.
So what we got going today? What's going on? Why we got all this stuff going on?
Yeah, we got a guest. Matt, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Matt.
Hi, Matt.
Hello. I met Rocco at some Mead Hammer events that we go to in our local area. Mead Hammer is just a bunch of guys people meeting up at a mead hall for Warhammer every other Tuesday. It's a bunch of fun. We actually hosted our first AOS RTT a couple months back, which Rocco
goddamn right we did.
Very, very nicely TO'd, which allowed me to play. Yeah. And that actually allowed me to test out the list that I ran at the GT just last weekend, or 2 weekends ago, that for the first time ever, I went 5-0 at a GT. It still feels surreal, and I can't believe it happened. My goal for the year was to go, have a positive win rate at a grand tournament at some point during 2026. And
you made it.
After
all downhill from here, buddy.
Yeah, something like that.
With Sylvaneth,
do it again,
right? So
yes, with Sylvaneth. So
I'll go ahead, Matt. Go ahead.
Sure. I was just going to click through some photos while you're talking, but I think first and foremost, Sylvaneth is just, they have some of the best models that GW have made. They're so pretty. They look so cool. They're also just so easy to paint. A lot of them are just, you base coat it brown, you throw some shades on it, and then you do some dry brushing with whatever fun, brighter colors that you want on there.
Yeah, but you took it up a notch. You got the Galaxy spray on
them. The bugs were after I'd had a few years painting experience, where I was like, I want to try this out and see how that goes. And even those were not that hard to do.
And the cherry blossom flocking there is great for the DMV area, and also having
inspiration for sure.
And having played old Wood Elves, the glow up from Treekin to that as a model.
The Colonel.
Okay. Before we get into any of those,
I hear
I own a bunch of the metal ones too, Matt.
Can we talk about something? There's a new book coming in, and you know what hasn't been shown in the new book? our beloved Kurnothi.
I know
that is the one downside.
Can we talk about that?
We can. We absolutely can.
Why?
Mm-hmm. This is a safe space for all the mats.
When they made some of the Underworld's Kurnothi models, and I was like,
right?
Hey, we might be getting some more Kurnothi. That would be cool. That it fills a niche that Sylvaneth doesn't have right now, which is like a very light cav unit or something that you can run MSU or minimum. What does MSU stand for again?
Minimum standard unit. Minimum size unit. There's a few different versions of it.
Multiple small units.
Exactly.
Yep.
We don't have something in like a 150 points range to fill that. And a light cav Kurnothi unit would have been so cool. Even if it's like
man.
Yeah, they're so cool. But
we don't so I have a massive Sylvaneth army, right? I have a massive Wood Elf and Sylvaneth army. Rocco and I are in the same boat, right?
Yes.
And I'm really excited for this because I have multiple problems with playing my Sylvaneth because I have so many of the Sylvaneth as an army since first edition have probably had the most rules changes, I think, of any army. Just because of facts, changes, etc. So I'm always mixing up rules. And then B, I want my Wood Elves in there, the dependable, not entirely relying on trees to get movement shenanigans off, right? Now we get that with the bugs. But the bugs they're spendy, right? And if they're caught off guard, you squash them, right?
Yep.
You can squash them pretty easily. So
for sure.
A little sad about Kurnothi, but I'm excited because Matthew's gonna
that new model that is just showing the soul pod growing the new. So oh my god, it's just so cinematic.
It's beautiful.
I'm hoping that also fills. I agree. I agree on the Kurnothi. I'm hoping that new model fills the 150 point gap that I think we see a lot of Sylvaneth right now.
I mean,
we'll see. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I've heard rumors that it might be a priest, which would be kind of weird for Sylvaneth. I'm very interested to see how they make it work, and also very interested to see what they do with Sylvaneth's rules. Some people will probably disagree with me, but I think Sylvaneth feel very balanced, even though we're on the upper end of the win rate right now. I think there's a very steep learning curve for it is a new player army. It's got the prettiest models. People love to buy it as one of their first armies, but there is a steep learning curve, and there has been since early on in third edition for how to play Sylvaneth. Something that I had to go through. I played Squigs. I got into AOS mid third edition, and I played just throw Squigs up the board, let them chomp stuff, and have fun.
Love to see it, and it's very fun.
Was painting up, 3 or 4 different tree lords, and Charles Wilson, who's a player in this region, who's sort of started a double Durthu list and all sorts of tree lord teleport shenanigans with that. He was sort of teaching me how to play that list, and it took 6 to 8 months of playing before I kind of figured out the guerrilla tactics that you sort of have to play with Sylvaneth, which is from almost the deployment step. You have to be thinking, okay, where am I going to place my trees so that I can get in and get out again?
Yep.
And I think there's a lot of different ways that you can play Sylvaneth, but all of them sort of tend to focus on that get in and get out and leave the least impactful unit on the objectives or the points that you need to hold. Right? Whether that's your tree revenants or an MSU spite revenants or, even a tree lord ancient, maybe something like that, which I don't play personally, but I've seen people do.
I love the tree.
Or people like running the Soggy Seekers as well.
MSU nothing wrong with the Soggy Seekers.
So
no, I think they're one of my favorite units.
It sounded so you started with Squigs, and then you played Sylvaneth for a while, and they grew on you. Is what you're saying, right?
They grew on me. Yes, very good. I knew that going into 4th edition, I wanted to really play Sylvaneth a lot more because I was a little squigged out by then. They definitely grew on me. The models are so pretty, and I just wanted to see them on the table more as well. I've been hooked. I've been hooked since. I'm very glad that our trees no longer just have a 6-inch aura. I'm glad that they made that change because Alariel's base is bigger than 6 inches.
Yeah,
so that was
a pie plate.
That was a big thing, and I think genuinely, I was thinking about this, and I put together a little bit of. These are some lists that I'll get into.
Yeah,
I put together a little bit of a tier list for what I think our models or our units do best. And, we're so focused on our faction terrain, being able to teleport to and from it, get buffs from it, that the faction terrain has to be the auto pick in the army because so much of our army is focused on it.
Yeah.
That's sort of a given, but Belthanos for me feels like as close to an auto include in Sylvaneth armies as
I've got my Belthanos next to me. I'm not even currently on a Sylvaneth kick, and I'll even bring him over for the camera. I full-heartedly agree with this.
I want to gauge your guys' thoughts on this, but I think Belthanos giving out 3 friendly Sylvaneth units anywhere on the board, run and charge. It's the easiest way to give an army run and charge that there is access to in Age of Sigmar right now.
I mean,
there's some sub factions or specific things like that, but just throw him in a list and everything can run. And the 3 main things that you want to throw at your opponent, being able to run and charge is just so strong.
Yes.
And then if you have a disastrous turn 1 where you can't cast a second set of trees during the hero phase, he can create an Awakened Wildwood from a terrain piece that he's within 6 inches of, which I always make use of that turn 1 just to have 2 spots just in case, especially if I'm not going first in the turn. Which in Sylvaneth, for some reason, opponents give you first turn a lot of the time anyway. Even though
it's otherwise
the Alpha Strike list that I sort of run.
I'll say why I give first turn all the time to Sylvaneth. Because it opens up potentials for mistakes.
This is true.
Mistakes punish Sylvaneth a lot more than a lot of other armies. We've gone on our tangents about Slaves to Darkness, being oppressive, how Nurgle is just making you play its game, right? But with Sylvaneth, if you catch a Sylvaneth army on the wrong turn, or on the wrong foot, you can do some real damage and punch them down.
That's a fair shout.
So that's always why I give it.
One thing I'll also add to your S inclusion of Belthanos up there and the S inclusion of Wyldwoods is, I think I have to agree with both of those. Just one, because the Wyldwood in general, with all of its rules changes, the one consistent thing is you don't want a lot of them there and they make the army work. And when too many of them are there, things can be really hard to deal with, just in terms of movement or board control or anything. And Belthanos, I think, sort of actually one of his big unlocks with that run and charge and with his being a good kickflip alpha unit himself and, the extra, awakening is that he allows the army to both be everywhere with the Wyldwoods, but also not be as dependent on the Wyldwoods. So then it becomes near impossible to stop him from being inconvenient in place or other people being inconvenient in places.
Yes.
Yep. No, it was great. His introduction opened up multiple styles of army lists and playing within the faction that was sorely needed.
Yeah. And I genuinely think everything from C tier up is competitive in a lot of different ways. I think the only bad unit that Sylvaneth has right now is Drycha, just like the normal Drycha.
I'm a Drycha hater from fantasy. I'm totally okay with this. This is
for the points. She just doesn't do enough. This Scourge-Garon Drycha, which I think, based on some rumors from Warhammer community articles, like some of this Scourge-Garon stuff is going to stick around, and I'm guessing that Scourge-Garon Drycha will be one of those that sticks around, which will make me.
Or that might just be her new war scroll in the book, right? Like, it's so popular. It's so solid.
I agree.
That
being said, there's a few different ways that you can play Sylvaneth right now. It's mostly a combat heavy army, but there are some shooting units. Kurnoth bows can target heroes, but I have them down in B tier just because that's more of a situational thing. Sometimes you'll face whether it's a chosen spam list or a cruel boys list that just has a bunch of monster killers and gut rippers that you have to deal with. They're not bad to bring against either of those armies, but for 400 points you want something that might be able to hit a little harder in combat and not be a second fade target if they get caught up. And for a while there I was running 3 bows in everything that I was playing just to have that threat because I love playing Master of the Paths with Sylvaneth as well.
And they feel like a good artillery unit. Like in other places, it's a ballista. It's a great cannon. That's the niche in a unit of 3, a mid-sized unit they fill.
I feel like for me, I want the 1 reinforced unit of them. If I'm gonna play them, I want. If
you're gonna go for hero killing, then a reinforced unit is better. But for 400 points, I can get Kurnoth swords, and the damage output there just even if they're not charging, just feels so much stronger.
Yeah, I think that's true.
With enough play testing, I've been able to pretty consistently kill a hero by turn 3 with Master of the Paths, even without running Kurnoth bows. So I ended up sort of dropping them from my list, sadly, a little bit. But it's allowed me to try some other things out. Which has been fun. So
walk me through your choices here, I guess, before we move away from it, because we've got it on the screen. So you're talking about these units, you have them ranked. Give me some reasoning for it more than just our fun little show.
Yeah. So in terms of list building, the main things that I've found that work for me are, I think I want 3 hard hitters, three units that can do decent damage over the course of the game. I need at least 2 spellcasters in a list. And then I'm sort of thinking about, if I'm bringing X unit, Sylvaneth is very much a self-supporting a self-buffing army instead of a debuffing army, like a Tzeentch or a Nurgle might be instead. We have a lot of 12-inch auras, right? The Soggy Seekers have the 12-inch aura to give out a 5-up ward. The Branch Witch has the 12-inch aura to give strike first during your opponent's combat phase. The Warsong Revenant has the 12-inch aura of a 6-up ward and a -1 ward for enemy units. So you get pretty good at eyeballing what 12 inches is after you've played Sylvaneth long enough. Warsong Revenant, Branch Witch, and Scourge-Juggernaut Drycha all have really good war scrolls for their points, and they are spellcasters. Therefore, they have to be an A tier. The best way to get a new set of trees on the board is by spellcasting, and so you need spellcasters on the board. Alariel absolutely can do that as well, but I personally struggle to pilot a 690-point model where that much of my army is tied up in one model, which is why she's a little lower for me. I think for other people, she'd be right up in A or S tier.
That was one of my
language. Gods, not gods.
Yeah.
It's just, the one model could only be in so many places.
Yeah, and the four the coin flip to recur something. It's either it feels bad for you or it feels bad for your opponent sometimes, which is not necessarily my play style.
It's true though, Matt. The sweatiest dice roll, right, in history. But when it works, it can be oppressive. When she works, it can be oppressive. But when she doesn't, it's like poof, done.
Yeah.
It's like playing Hand of Dust by yourself.
Durthu, especially with the addition of Glamour Weave and Scourge-Juggernaut on, is just the damage output from him is incredible. And if you throw a Spell Singer on him with Aether Machinations or the Cogs for -1 to hit while he's a wizard, it makes him that much more survivable. I have Kurnoth Swords and Scythes in A tier as well, just because they do so much damage in the right scenario. And if I'm bringing 6 Kurnoth Swords or 6 Kurnoth Scythes, I'm almost always pairing them with the Branch Witch, right? They are going around everywhere on the board together to, if I can't get them into my opponent turn 1 or turn 2, they're sitting on an objective waiting for the enemy to charge my probably hardest hitting unit, where I can potentially give them strike first on a 3-up with the Branch Witch. Like, that combo just feels very, very solid.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Scourge of Garon, Revenant Seekers just being base 2 damage with crit mortals on their weapons. I could take or leave the 5-up board half the time. That made them worth it for me, especially paired with Scourge of Garon Drycha with her War Scroll spell. And that's sort of where I got into with my list building. Is I knew I wanted 6 Karnoth Swords or size, one of the two with a Branch Witch. And I knew I wanted something that could give out strike first during my turn, as well as strike first during my opponent's turn, during the combat phase. I personally think that the strike first and strike last abilities are like the most game turning, or have the most potential to like turn a game in your favor or against your favor.
Yeah.
It's one of the strongest abilities in the game, if not the strongest, in my opinion. So
I wanted a Branch Witch.
You don't got to sell us on an always strikes last, all right?
Yes, indeed.
Pod
I knew I wanted
that.
Switch for strike first during my opponent's turn, and I knew I wanted... I love the Spite Rider Lancers. I have 15 of those Bug Cavalry painted up, and I was like, I got to use them. So I ran a list that had a Branch Witch, Scourge of Garon Drycha, 6 swords, 6 Spite Rider Lancers, and 6 Revenant Seekers.
Nice.
It's only 2 casts in Sylvaneth is a little uncommon. You're usually seeing 3 or 4, split between 2, 3, 4 wizards. So I was playing it a little risky maybe in that regard, but what sort
no tree revs?
No tree revs. No room for them.
I too like to live dangerously.
Yeah, so here's my full list. I was running Wargrove of the Burgeoning because I've got 18 models that are 5 health each. That's nice. Exactly what I want for Wargrove of the Burgeoning. For people who don't know how that works, it's if you have a non-hero unit, Sylvaneth unit that's within 3 inches of a terrain piece, you roll a dice and either heal that many wounds, or if you roll equal to or higher than the health characteristic of that model, of that unit, you can recur a model to the unit, even if it's in combat. So, you got 10 chances over the course of the game, you're probably going to get 1 to 2 models back. Very big, hard to kill, hard hitting models back during the course of the game. And that can be big.
Yeah.
So with only 2 casts, I knew that I had to run Acorn of Ages on the Branch Witch, which is the artifact that summons a tree within 12 inches of the hero once per game. That ended up being really crucial on both Grasp of Thorns and Life Cycle, because you just set her up as close to the deployment zone, and then there's a big space right in the middle of the board, and if you put the tree there, it touches all of the objectives. It ended up being great. It also, and I'm going to briefly go into one of my slides here, which we'll come back to.
I love these, by the way, man. These are awesome.
So I'm a structural engineer.
Sick. Good job, man.
There's this PDF. Shit. There's this PDF tool called Bluebeam, or a PDF viewer called Bluebeam that architects and structural engineers use. Basically, you can size the paper and then scale it to be exactly 44 by 60 inches. So I was able to measure out exactly all these 12-inch auras, and I've used it before for game and tournament prep before, so it sort of made this a little bit easier. And I also
realize that's what you were doing. That's sick. Okay.
I also have ADHD hyperfixation on this, so I took the time
notice.
To do
it's okay. Don't neurodivergence and Warhammer. Shut the fuck up.
Right. What are you talking about?
So, especially on Surge of Slaughter, it's really hard to set up that first tree within outside of 3 inches of this objective and both of these terrain pieces, whilst you usually want your first Awakened Wildwood to tag 2 or 3 objectives. So I actually, during the tournament, when we hit Surge of Slaughter, I declined to place my first Awakened Wildwood because of how difficult it is to do it during the deployment phase, because when you place it with the acorn or through summoning the spell, you only have to be 1 inch away from other pieces. So I knew that there was a high likelihood that I was going to be going first because my opponent had fewer drops than me. And I set up my branch witch in a spot where, I could put the tree right where I wanted it, 1 inch away from both of those 2 small terrain pieces, and wholly within 12 of her. And that tagged all 3 of those, key objectives for me. And that sort of meant that I only really had to summon 1 tree for the rest of the game. I was able to summon 2 later on, but that's a trick that, people don't necessarily think of, that I think helped me in that game quite a bit.
Honestly, that's shades of a gentleman we'd know, Matt Beasley.
I was just about to say, are you sure you're not a Zinch player?
Anal. This man, Beasley, 3D printed out like so many measurement tools and so many things to just to cover the whole table. Like, okay, if I do my deployment here, it's this there. I hit all these objectives, and if the terrain's set up this way, how do I do this? Good shit, dude. This is like seriously really good analysis for board placement, board control, and what you have to do to win.
This is really sometimes useful. The amount of thought that needs to go into like what you're doing with Sylvaneth. And I would argue that like for all 12 maps, there is an ideal placement for where you're putting your first terrain piece.
Yep. You are underlining my point of why I like to let most Sylvaneth players go first, though, right?
Yes.
Because this is a lot.
It does take a lot. This is a very well thought out plan too that survives multiple different types of enemies. So I
like the notions we have on the tree placement. I think that explanation alone is going to be solid gold for any Sylvaneth player listening to this once again, or watching it on YouTube maybe, who wants to kind of see this. But talk us a bit through like just what you're dealing with here. I mean, what are you looking at across the board? Who's sitting? What do they set down in front of you? Just look at the icons.
I mean, do we want to take this from the first game? Did you do this for each thing?
I did like the first turn.
This is a trade.
Man.
Let's do it.
Let's take it from the top, baby. Let's go.
We'll get there.
Do you want me to briefly talk about what lists are run before getting into it and sort of?
That's right. I'm sorry, we've been jumping. That's right. You didn't finish going through your list. Yeah, dude.
Welcome to Always Strikes Late.
The first list that I've seen run a lot, and this is Jake Remington's list, who's probably one of the top 2 Sylvaneth players in the world right now. It's Hero Hammer. It's Alariel. It's a Warsong Rev, Spirit of Durthu, Drycha Hamadreth, Belthanos, and then even with an auxiliary unit, this list kicks ass because the branch witch is sure. I'll give my opponent an extra command point just so I can have strike first on Durthu or Alariel or something like this.
Yeah.
And as you said before, like having a bunker of I'm just going to put this character behind the thing, come charge the thing, and you might just like lose on that. That's all the deterrents you need.
Yep. I personally would struggle to run this list. I think especially with how I roll dice with Belthanos, I never seem to roll well with him or Alariel for that matter. 2 of your hardest hitting units having half of their attacks hit on 4s, and then having over 1,000, almost 1,000 points tied up between those 2 models just feels a little risky for my personal tastes. But this is a list that has gone 4-1, 5-0 at multiple GTs. It's absolutely playable if you are someone who's inclined to play Hero Hammer in that regard.
The other winner. We love Boston here.
Yes, yes. The other list, one of the other lists that I think is closer to the one that I run, and probably the easiest to sort of get into a little bit, is some variation of this list. This is not up to date with the most recent points, but it's actually cheaper to run this list now because Spellsinger doesn't cost 20 anymore. This is that the Warhammer Championship tournament. This list finished 3rd overall with a 7-1. Warsong Rev is probably our best caster. The Scourge-Around Revenant Seekers are purely there to give Durthu a 5-up ward. Spite Rider Lancers are to clear screens and just be a general nuisance, and also, tag objectives on the far side of the board whilst getting run in charge from Belthanos. Drycha Hamadreth can absolutely make the Spite Rider Lancers hit harder. That Scourge on Drycha with her War Scroll spell unlocks those bug calves so nicely because 3 attacks each on their main weapons, 3s to hit, fine. 4s to wound is rough. And what her spell does is it gives them +1 to wound and +1 attacks, which just unlocks that unit so nicely. I used to try and run the Sylvaneth Army of Renown, the Belthanos one, which I'm forgetting what it's called.
Yeah,
the hunt one.
Yeah, his version of the wild hunt. Yeah,
it gave out access. It gave out pretty consistent access to +1 to hit and +1 to wound and +1 attack, which makes those bug cavalry hit so much harder.
Yep.
So just having a unit that can give out +1 to wound and +1 to attack on those bug cav makes them that much more threatening. And then, of course, Spirit of Durthu with Spellslinger and Glamour Weave is always going to be a problem, especially if you're running Aether-Up machineries. The thought process there is you summon the cogs, you keep Durthu while he's a wizard near the Wyldwoods, as well as Scourgeour on Hamadreth, within 12 inches of those cogs, and then they're -1 to hit for essentially the rest of the game.
Yeah,
the Evergreen Hunt is the name of the Army of Renown.
That's the one. You can also play a variation of this list where you run sides for 380 points instead of the listers if you want to play a slower list, and that's just as good because you have a Branch Witch to give out a strike first to your
and you're still running and charging with Belthanos for good field position. You don't have to teleport and do all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then Tree Revs to teleport around as well. It's a really, really solid list, and I played a variation of it where I just dropped Durthu because I like my bug cav better, essentially. That's pretty much it. And then reinforce the Scourgeour on Seekers for the heck of it. This list is the one that I don't understand. This guy, Thomas Lang, has run this at multiple GTs. It's a restless energy and scouting force. He runs, some slight variations of this where he's bringing multiple MSU Spite Revs, 1 unit of 10 Spite Revs, an MSU Scourgeour on Revenant Seekers, and then some combination of Alariel, Durthu, Belthanos, and Drycha, dropping 1 or 2 of those for Alariel or something of that nature.
I actually played Thomas Lang with a variation of this list where he was running the Alariel. Yeah, it was fun time.
I'd be interested to hear how he played it because I can't for the life of me make scouting forces work personally with Sylvaneth, but there's got to be a way because he's consistently piloting this to top 3 podium finishes at GTs. And it's very impressive every time I see his name pop up. And I want to learn from him. But despite the fact that I went 5-0 at a GT, there's still elements of Sylvaneth that I don't understand how they work and how, to play them as well as they can be played.
He's got 5 infantry units there?
Yep. Right? And then one cav unit that could be a scouting force as well.
Yeah, Spite Revenants, they throw mortals, right?
Yeah.
They do, and they can turn off commands for infantry units that they're in combat with, but they're also a 5-up save with 10 health on an MSU unit.
Yep.
That's honestly what it is. It's like no ward, but they're present, right? They can be in convenient places. They can sit in objectives and be a little bit tougher to remove than a lot of things,
That's fair.
Typical Sylvaneth build. And then the other mobile pieces, he still has like the hammers to get around, like whether it's an Elfnos, Alariel, or something else, and they can get in and get precision stuff done with all the movement from the rest of the trees. He'll end up winning the board position just through that.
Yeah, and then
that's fair.
Even then, right? Like, so he's, but he creates a priority problems for his opponents, right?
So do you focus on the Spite Revenants for scouting, or do you go after the harder hitting pieces? Yeah, that's true.
And it's like you said before, Matt, with the board positioning and how precise you have to be as a Sylvaneth player. He's given himself all these MSU things to go and give him all these extra outs that, he knows what to do in Pilot. Because he's got his own map of what he's doing. He's muscle memoried it at this point.
Yeah.
It's true. And one thing, if you guys have ever met Thomas, is he's great, but he has incredible energy. Like, it's always like really fun to play. I'm like a real blast because he gives you this energy too, but it's also like probably required to move everything that precisely that quickly. It's like this.
And I don't know. I've made a lot of lists like this, to be honest. Outside of Belthanos, which is hilarious. But the one thing that I can see with the inclusion of Belthanos in this list is that he's suddenly getting so much more movement off the spike.
Yes.
So because charging is really also a movement phase, right? So
that's what we preach here.
That's probably where I see this like coming in clutch without people realizing it. At like first glance. But I mean, it looks like a fun list.
It does.
Yeah.
The spirit of Earth is so scary.
Yeah, that guy hits hard.
He does.
I'm trying to remember like the exact particulars of that game. Matt, so we can always catch up on it later. But I will say that it was the second of our two face-offs with Dark Oath versus Sylvaneth, and so now we evened up our record off of it, which was
nice,
just fun. But I got the Alarial 4-up. Problem.
Brutal.
But she was good. She was good that game.
Yes.
Good.
So those are the main three lists that I wanted to highlight outside of mine. We sort of talked about mine already.
Yeah.
So the first player that I played is a great guy named Tori. I've seen him a couple times at some Game Castle tournaments nearby. He has some beautifully painted Skaven that he's run a number of different lists, and this weekend he was running this sort of crazy Warp Cog Convocations list that had 3 Doom Wheels, had 2 units of Reinforced Doom Flayers, it had 2 units of Reinforced Warplock Jezzails, it had a Rattling Warp Blaster, it even had a Deathmaster in there just to hero hunt.
Just to be the jerk.
Yeah, it was a very fun looking list. And then to get into how it went.
Matt, did you say exactly which list you brought? I thought you showed the variation. But which one did you bring?
I brought Branch Witch was my general. She had Spellsinger just to make casting Tree Song that much easier, hopefully, as well as the Acorn of Ages in case everything again goes terribly wrong, or if I want to place it a little more specifically for my first drop. I had 6 Karnoth Greatswords, just because this is very much an alpha strike list. I'm going to be running both. I think during turn 1 of every single game I played, I ran both units of Bug Cav and got them into my enemy consistently every single turn 1 with the Karnoth Greatswords sort of setting up for that sort of counter punch or follow up charge in turn 2. And Scourge of Andreicha, if I got the trees down turn 1 with the Branch Witch, she was going to try and cast her War Scroll spell on one of the 2 units of Bug Cavalry just to try and make them hit that much harder in my turn.
Cool.
Good stuff. The table's set. And so then you show up against the cool zaniness of all the Doom Wheels.
Yes. And I actually outdropped him. I'm only a 3-drop with Sylvaneth. They had a 4-drop. So I, gave away the turn. He set up, and we were playing on Passing Seasons, which in my opinion is one of the worst maps for Sylvaneth, again, just because of where terrain pieces are.
Yeah, where can you put that tree?
That first drop of where I put the tree is, I think that this is the better spot, and then you put Belthanos up here to tag that place of power.
I dig it.
Get the 6-inch aura to tag both of those objectives. I think that's worked better for me than trying to put the tree back here and then do something with Belthanos over here, because that 6-inch aura doesn't get you over to that green objective on the left-hand side if you set it up the other way around. And then from here, you can, cast to put a tree in the middle of the board. You can cast to put a tree on the left-hand side by the other green objective. There's a couple different places that you can go with it. I knew that he had Doom Wheels, and I knew that he had the Doom Flayers, and that their movement on those can be pretty sick. So I did set up a little bit further back, especially with my swords. And then I put the Branch Witch right in the middle of my Seekers and the swords so that I could give Strike First Out to either of those, hopefully, if he got into me. And then I set my Lancers even further back, but on the objective, just in case he tagged something and killed all my swords. And then lastly, Belthanos on the far right to turn that into an Awakened Wyldwood as well as a place of power. I was running Intercept, so the units highlighted in yellow are sort of what he picked as his intercept target. So he picked both of his units of Warplock Jezzails as well as his Arch Warlock. I recognize that some of the heroes here are kind of hard to view.
Half of the people listening are just going to be listening too. So you're doing a great job describing anyway. So you're good.
It's very true. And again, extra credit, for YouTube viewers. People want to view the slides on the Discord. It's like
I can also send a PDF included as a link for people to view afterwards.
That would be great, because I'm sure a lot of people just love to pour over this kind of stuff, because this is what you really want to see with a GT kind of battle report. You know, how to go.
Yeah, this is the old school in the White Dwarf. Here's all the pictures of the movement and the whole bit. And no, dude, I know what Ricky. I know Ricky was really excited to get you on here, but you're gonna blow Ricky's mind when he listens to this.
When I told Ricky, shout out Ricky, what a great guy!
Shout out Ricky,
one of the best guys to play Warhammer with. When I told Ricky that I had won the tournament 5-0, he responded with, "What the fuck? I'm never playing Warhammer with you again." We're actually going to a doubles tournament next weekend, which I think we're on the same team, so that'll be a lot of fun. So,
there you go, Ricky. Now you can use the champ for your own benefit.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I gave away turn 1. I had him start turn 1.
Mm-hmm.
He decided that charging 2 of his Doom Wheels into my units turn 1 was a good idea. It was not. They both perished. He was trying to do was pin them there and then move his Giselles up so that he could shoot my units. I did deploy my Kurnoths so that they were obscured. But I've got 2 units of flying bug cav. So there's a world where it makes sense, but I think he just didn't respect how hard both of these units could hit with crit mortals a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He also sent his Doom Flayers. He didn't roll great on the movement for his Doom Flayers, admittedly, so he tagged both of the active objectives. Okay. He teleported a Doom Wheel over here with one of his onto the green objective with one of his gnaw holes. I redeployed Belthanos a little bit just to keep him safe, and then he was slowly moving his shooting up the board. But then in the follow-up, I got my Seekers into 1 unit of Doom Flayers and took them out. I got Belthanos into a Doom Wheel and a gnaw hole and took both of those out. I took out half a unit of Doom Flayers with my Lancers and sort of just kept both of them tagged in combat. I actually used this is the other thing about this list. I think I've used the auto run 6 command every single turn of every single game.
Oh yeah,
it makes sense.
It's
free real estate
to use with run and charge, especially
until we get Kurnothi.
100%. It'll charge and moving. That get you there.
So I moved the Kurnoth Swords 11. I summoned a tree right in the middle of the board, and then I think I hit a 12 on the charge as well. So I was able to tag the Rattling Wart Blaster, one of the units of the Giselles, and his Warlock Bombardier.
Yeah, you didn't even have to be cute and pile in funny. No, you just nailed the charge. You nailed the charge, man.
So what you were saying is there were some real sad rats.
There were some very sad rats.
Turned them to mulch.
Yeah, from that point on, it was a pretty straightforward game. I don't have round 2 listed out. I sort of just wanted to show where my thought process were, and I actually didn't strike and fade anything this turn either, because it felt better to keep the shooting units in combat so that I could shoot. Mm-hmm. And both of my 2 cavalry units were not in range to strike and fade. As a result, this unit of Giselles did, I think, shoot 4 of the the Scourge Juggernaut Seekers off the board, which sucked. But Drycha was right there. I think I recurred one of them back with Burgeoning, and then once I got everything else in, it sort of cemented the victory. So I think I won that round 70-30. All things said and done, I'd taken out enough of his stuff early on that I was able to send the Seekers into this corner, the Lancers into this corner, and then teleport the Branch Witch back over here for Master of the Paths Part 3, which is the only Master of the Paths Part 3 that I got in the entire tournament. Oh. But, that's how it goes.
Yeah.
Round 2 was against a Slaves to Darkness player, and I'll just pull up their list really quick.
Sure.
Nice.
They're running a Chaos Sorcerer Lord with Head of the Unworthy.
Good clean Warhammer. I love his last name.
Yes. He was running 10 Chaos Chosen, Chaos Lord on Karkadrak, 10 Chaos Warriors, a Demon Prince, some Furies, an MSU unit of Knights, and an MSU unit of Vanguard. Matt Brooks, great guy. He was really fun to play against as well. I think this was sort of decided in the deployment phase. I let him know fully that, I have an 18-inch threat range with my bug cavalry, right? With an auto run 6 that I can still charge off of that. And we're set up 18 inches apart. So, you know, I let him know. I gave him the double check. I was like, "You're sure you want your cavalry units right there next to, you know, my Spite Rider Lancers with anti-cav and your Vanguard next to this unit with Crit Mortals?" He's like, "Yeah, I think it'll be okay. You know, if you come at me, I think they'll be able to handle it." And it's like, "Okay, who would you like to go first?" He said, "I would like you to go first." And
okay.
So what you're saying was the game was a learning opportunity for him.
It was a learning opportunity. I killed both the units of Chaos Knights, the unit of Chaos Knights and the Vanguard in turn 1. I again didn't have the opportunity to strike and fade with anything. Again, the Chosen in the next turn got into my Seekers, but weren't able to kill them in one go. Those units of Seekers with the 5-up ward are tankier than people expect.
Oh yeah, and how many wounds are they a model again?
5. So all of my non-hero units are 5 health on a 4-up save with usually a 6-up or a 5-up ward somewhere there.
That's a lot of meat, man.
This unit of Furies was his MVP throughout the game, though. It hit every single 3-up dice roll to run away from combat. As a result, I never got Master of the Paths 2 for the entire game because he just kept them bouncing around my territory the entire game. But I think I won that one 64-47, something along those lines. I don't think I even. I didn't even.
I'm going to praise the Furies because they never get enough praise.
Oh,
good job, guys!
They're a good utility
I hated them
unit
during the game individually, but they were fantastic.
Good job.
I like them a lot.
Such a fun unit to pilot. Such a nerve-wracking unit to pilot with the current points level.
But the unit I never roll 3s on.
Oh,
they're so cute.
The second tree. So the first tree. This was one of the ones where I set up with the Acorn of Ages, and then the second tree I sort of set up over here. I knew that I wanted to teleport or have the ability to teleport one of my bug cav out of combat, and that objective being in the other person's land. I just felt like a good spot to try and drop one down, and then set up the Kurnoth for either a counter charge into whatever gets into the Lancers or whatever goes onto that center objective. I think he was also running Restless Energies, so I didn't want to put anything on that blue objective early on, just to minimize scoring on his end. I think I ended up winning that one 64-47. I got all 3 intercept targets, and I got Master of the Paths 1. So
very nice.
One interesting thing about this particular game experience that he had and you guys had together is that I think a lot of people from like an edition ago or whatever it was that you're a little bit more fragile, not as many options, not as many defensive options, but you did have the strike and fade to the trees. As people just get used to that being like, that's the one thing. They didn't get used to like, oh, I have 3 threats, which will also just get up there and erase you if you're not careful. That has happened.
Yeah. It's very true. So these, and it's what I say to people who have never played Sylvaneth before, which I think might have been the case for this guy, is, you know, you get one learning game, and then you know how to play Sylvaneth a lot better, right? So this was this guy's, you know, learning game a little bit in that regard. And
you told him, hey man, I got an 18-inch threat range. It's real reliable.
You respect the bug cav after enough chances. But I think this guy actually ended up having a really good tournament after this. He finished 2 and 3 with all of his games being incredibly close.
Nice.
So, you know, really good job to Matt Brooks. So the first 2 rounds were, you know, on the easier side in terms of competitiveness game-wise for me.
And those Swiss
after this is where things kicked up a notch a little bit. So I played Harry Isaacson, Nick Walters, and Nick Rao back to back to back after this. And all 3 of those guys, Scooter, especially, but all 3 of those guys, I think, were in the top 150 players in 2025, according to the BCP ITC rankings, whatever they are.
You ran into some people,
accurate, but these are all, you know, these are all very, very good people. They know what they're doing. So round 3, I played Harry, and Harry's been piloting this list for almost the entirety of 4th.
Oh my God.
It is a Seraphon list with a Slanstar Master, and then 4 units of reinforced Agrodon Lancers.
Well, you know what he's going to do.
You do know what he's going to do.
You got a good idea.
This was the toughest game of the tournament for me.
It's a cav on cav fight, you know.
Man, and I thought I spammed. That's some spam.
Well, it's also interesting because it's mobile walls of meat. There's no soft thing to pick apart on that.
No. Mobile meat walls.
5 health on a 4-up save as well, and the more you fight, the harder they hit.
Yep.
So, and then the Salon brings back 3 of them for a command point as soon as any one of them dies, right?
Yep.
Which is so strong.
He had a Kronspine in there too, yeah?
Yeah, but in case
he did have a Kronspine, yes. He did have a Kronspine. I didn't model. He did cast it a couple times. I didn't model it anywhere on the board.
Hey.
But this was the general setup. He was a 1-drop, so he outdropped me, and he did give me first turn. And this is where I misplayed. This is where, Matt, you were talking about earlier, that if you catch a Sylvaneth player out, disaster can strike.
Yep. And they're in their own head for the rest of the game.
After round 1, I thought for sure, okay, this is where I get my first loss of the tournament. This is where it's going to go. So essentially, I haven't played Seraphon too much. And most of the time, people have not picked the asterism where it's -1 to rend if you're attacking enemy units that are wholly within their territory.
I hate that so much.
And he's sort of, as an Alpha Strike list himself, he sort of recognized that even though we're 22 inches apart on the table, I have anti-cav on one of my guys and crit models on the others. I'm probably going to be trying to Alpha Strike him. So he picked the -1 rend. And it really made me think round 1, and I probably should have thought a little bit longer. But I was like, screw it. Let's throw things. It was the end of the day. It's round 3. It's the last,
last game on the Saturday.
Let's just 1 game left before dinner. I know the moment. You know the moment.
Yes. Yeah. So that's exactly what I did. I threw my Seekers up here on the left side of the board. I did end up taking that objective and taking out 4 of his guys. But, my 6 Spite Rider Lancers only killed 1 Agrodon Lancer and luckily survived with 1 model remaining. Because
that one doesn't have an X on it. Because I looked at this real quick, Matt. I'm like, oh no. Oh no.
Yeah. So, I got the board. I got the tree right in the middle of the board where I wanted it.
And now you're paying for the real estate.
The other mistake was I put my Branch Witch way too far forward because it was like, my Lancers will survive combat. They're not, they haven't snowballed yet. The Lancers won't necessarily hit super hard just yet. I didn't respect the damage output of them not on the charge, right? So I put my Branch Witch further forward to, during his turn, try and give out strike first. And then all of a sudden there's only 1 Lancer left on the board and I'm having to strike and fade it out because it's one of his intercept targets. And now my Branch Witch is just sat right in the middle of my trees that he can charge.
Your Branch Witch is the screen
coming at him. Luckily, I did have 2 command points left over for countercharge purposes.
Good.
So top of round 1 went horrendously. I think I was lucky to get 10 points just by, holding some objectives. By taking the blue one, I guess, but that gave him an easy restless target since he was running that as well, which he did get. He sent this unit over here. He luckily only killed 2 of them, but he did retake the point. He charged my Branch Witch. I was able to countercharge with my swords into them and took out half of that unit, luckily.
Okay.
But then he was also very smart in that he took the unit of 5 and just charged them into the trees, kept them out of the swords, and knew that tree being where it was going to be very beneficial to me later in the game. So he took out that tree, he took out my Branch Witch, he took out a sword, and he took out a couple of Seekers.
Makes sense.
I had Belthanos move over and Dreich just sort of moving over just to set up, and then the Lancer had teleported back here, and that was where I was rolling my recursion rolls. I was rolling rally rolls just to try and start getting if I can get that unit back up to 3 models over the course of the game, then I might have a chance as we get further into this. So going into round 2, he scored 13 and I scored 10. So he was already up 3. He'd gotten Restless 1 and he controlled, more objectives than me. This is also cyclic shift. So the underdog can turn off 2 objectives. So I was actually kind of okay being underdog here. And he rolls a 6. And if he gets the double turn for priority, If he gets the double turn here, the game is over. And I rolled like a 3. So I used my once per game reroll since I had more. I was like, okay, if I miss, it's over here. And he's like, I was debating whether I wanted to roll it. And he's like, you should roll this, do the reroll. And I rolled it and it was a 6. I was like, oh, okay, I guess I am taking this turn. And I think that one roll is what allowed me to go 5-0 this tournament. You can play as tactfully as you want over the course of a GT. You do need some luck. And this is where I got the luck.
We've said that before here, man. It's so true.
Yep. I love that rule to give you that reroll. It is so nice.
It's so nice. I was able to summon a second tree over here. I got Drycha across the board to do some damage into one of his intercept targets.
Yeah.
As a result, the now, starting to snowball Lancers had nearly took out this unit of Seekers. I had to strike and fade them out. Belthanos came over and started helping out with this other unit intercept target. And I don't think I did a bottom of round. I did. And luckily survived the counter punch from that unit of 5. And then I finally got the first intercept target down. Drycha I knew was going to be a sacrifice, so now I'm down both wizards. These are where my trees are for the rest of the game. But he knew that he sort of had to focus on my other units instead of taking my trees out at that point in the game. I didn't model out how rounds 3, 4, and 5 went, but I can tell you from points that it was incredibly close. And I scored intercept 1 at the start of turn 3, thanks to killing off this unit. And I scored intercept 2 in round 5, in the bottom of round 5. So I think this unit tagged a red objective, which then I was underdog the entire game until round 5. I turned it off, so then it started going over here to the green ones.
Okay.
You'll see that I was able to burgeon back one of my Lancers here on the green objective. I think I also was able to get, I only ever got 2 Lancers back on the board. With some really lucky rally rolls and another burgeoning roll, I was able to get 3 of my Seekers back. And in turn 5, I think I was only down 8 points or something like that, I was able to charge the Seekers into that second to last intercept target and take it out in the final turn. I had a 15-point turn, bottom of 5, and ended up just squeaking out a win 56-49.
Nice.
Props to Harry once again, really good player. He played it really well. He played it, very professionally. It was such a tough but very fun game.
Oh God, yeah. And Matt, what were you trying to say to her?
Yes, sorry if I cut someone off.
Oh no, not at all. I was going to say that that is the one thing for all the people going, oh man, how am I going to beat any of this, right? If you see a chance to double turn a Sylvaneth army, you always take it. It will hurt Sylvaneth way more than most other armies because their healing is generally in their own hero phase.
Yep.
And so if you can get 2 hero phases on them, you can really make a lot of sad pandas out there. That being said, don't ever get doubled by a Sylvaneth army.
Also,
it makes you the saddest panda.
Yeah.
That was it. It's more like, he's kicking himself for telling you can reroll the dice, isn't he?
A little bit. That is like the best gentleman moment though. Like I'll say that's like the Age of Sigmar community spirit, right? He's like, no, exactly, I think you're out. That's we lift each other up.
You can still kick yourself though. It's okay. I believe you. Now he knows he can. Next time you don't have to let him know. Next time.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, just barely squeaked out a victory on this one. But somehow was able to with some lucky rally rolls, avoiding the double turn, and some lucky burgeoning rolls. Burgeoning, the healing for burgeoning does happen at the end of every turn. So I agree. There's a lot of hero phase healing, but there's also end of turn healing.
And burgeoning just for newer players who want to get into the army, people like me who don't have it right in front of me. How much does it heal, and who does it heal per turn?
So it's a subfaction trait. The exact wording of it, I believe. Well, I don't have it in front of me. I'm not going to. Word for word, but
I can pull it.
It's basically you pick a non-hero Sylvaneth unit that's within 3 inches of a terrain piece at the end of every turn. And you can only pick one unit. It's not every unit. So in this case, my Kurnoth swords, my Spite Red Lancers, or my Scourge of Garand Revenant Seekers. You roll a dice, and if you roll equal to or over the health characteristic of that unit, you can recur a model to it. Or alternatively, you can heal whatever you roll on the dice.
Okay.
So in this case, if I rolled a 4 or below, I was healing that much damage that was left over on one of my models. Or if I rolled a 5 or above, I was bringing a model back. And you can pick which of those 2 you do.
And it's really good tech.
Yeah.
Really good tech.
Yeah.
That Scourge of Garand thing that I think made this army that much more fun to play for me.
We love it.
Round 4.
We're already on round 4. My God.
Scooter.
Yeah.
So this was first game of day 2.
Not his pigs, the son of a bitch.
This is his Adepticon list, which was Be'lakor and 3 units of reinforced Chaos Warriors.
Scooter, what are you doing, man?
I love this list.
Chaos Sorcerer Lord as well as some Furies, a Chaos Spawn, and some Raktoriks just to fill the list out.
Nice. Very nice.
This list just says, come fight me on objectives with my warriors, and I will win that fight. Pretty much. Right?
That's amazing. I love this list.
The dude is a trip to play. He's very fun. He's he'll party during the event, before the event, after the event. Dude's great. Yeah.
I think strategy, sure, a little bit, but luck was on my side a little bit in this matchup as well. Yeah. In that I was playing him on Grasp of Thorns, which is the battle plan where if you're the underdog, you can pick an objective and trap units on that objective for your
good old stun lock. Yeah.
Yes. And the other thing is, what this list does is that you've got 40 wounds to chew through on a 3-up save.
Yeah.
Most things are not going to be able to kill 40 wounds on a 3-up save in one go, especially if they have Mark of Nurgle for a 6-up board or a 5-up board from the Sorcerer Lord. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. This is a hell of a Warhammer fantasy list too, actually, if you double dip it into games.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
super fun.
Yeah. Most armies see this and think, how am I going to fight this unless I put all of my army into one unit at a time, right?
Yeah.
I saw this and thought, okay, sure, I will put some of my stuff into it, but then I can strike and fade it out again. And then I'll just go back in and strike and fade it out. So, and especially with Grasp of Thorns, he has to think twice about whether he's putting stuff on objectives, right? So Chaos Warriors, for those who don't know, get +1 attacks when they're contesting an objective that you control.
They're all about being on objectives.
Exactly. So, he had to think like, okay, am I putting stuff on objectives? What, am I risking that without getting onto his side of the board? He was running Restless Energies. So at some point he has to take something that I control.
And the other thing too, because of these big blocks, he can only send so many, he can only be in so many places at once. The Raptorix is Die to a Stiff Breeze. Be'lakor eventually can get run down. This is...
Hey, don't hit on my Raptorix. I love my
Raptorix. They're beautiful to see on the table, just because that's the chaos energy that we lost our cultists, right, Matt? We talk about that every time I can.
Okay.
So, I forget exactly what the thought process here was. I can't remember if I outdropped him for some reason or he outdropped me. I think he outdropped me, but he decided to go first.
I think he's a 2-drop in this. Yeah.
And I was
because he's trying to set up the double make a unit stupid with Be'lakor.
Yes. I think that was the thought process here. But
she's playing defensive. He's got a defensive build. You run up, fight on his objectives. He kills you. He slowly marches up. Okay.
He put Be'lakor within 3 inches of 2 units of Chaos Warriors. He moved the one that was further away from Be'lakor further away from me, while still holding that objective. He moved the Chaos Spawn over here, the Furies over here, and the Raptorixes were, primed to go towards that blue objective after I left it. And I said, sure. Let's do it anyway. I I summoned the tree on the far right side of the board near the purple objective, the one that Bellicor was not near for strikes last.
Yep.
I sent both my units of bug cav into it, and between the two of them, I only killed 10 of the 20 Chaos Warriors, which was scary.
Yeah.
But they didn't. They were not able to kill a single model in return. It was great, and it's sometimes you prefer things to live when you're Sylvaneth so that you can strike and fade out, which is exactly what I did. I strike and faded out with the Seekers again, set them up over here on the blue objective, near Drycha to get her spell, and near the Swords to send them both somewhere else as well. Consolidated some of my pieces a little bit more centrally on the board.
You played really good strong side to strong side here, matching him. And he's kind of just gotten himself in that one corner of the board with the 2 units in Bellicor where he's so bunkered up. Kind of sacrifices.
The other thing, which I think from his perspective, he was like, I'm just going to put Bellicor on this objective early because I know I'm going to be moving the Chaos Warriors off of it. And he didn't want me to teleport anything back here to tag it.
That makes sense. Bellicor can still fight. He's still a caster. He's got...
Can still get trapped.
Where that ended up being a detriment to him was Grasp of Thorns. When you're the underdog, you can trap units on objectives.
Yep.
And that's exactly what I did. So in the top of round 2,
Matt.
He sent that middle unit of Chaos Warriors over to fight my Seekers. They did, they survived with one or two models remaining, and I strike and faded them out at the end of the turn.
Good shit.
Then I sent both, my Seekers and my Swords over to deal with both of those units. I think by the end of the game, I had taken out 2 of the big blocks of Chaos Warriors and got both 2 intercept targets. And
he was stuck on that one objective. Goddamn.
Exactly. So he scored 8 in the first turn and 15 in the second because he got Wrathful and Intercept. He was actually able to get his Raptorixes all the way over to my blue objective and take that off of me, which was kind of funny, which got him Wrathful 1. But funny. Being up in score ended up being bad for him because I kept Bellicor on that objective until he died in turn 5.
Yep.
Once I had cleared enough of the other stuff, and then Swords, Scythes, Seekers, and Lancers all went over there, killed the Sorcerer Lord and Bellicor between 2 combat phases. There was 1 remaining unit of Chaos Warriors that had to sort of roam over here. And his Furies, again, rolled a 3 up every single time and kept me from getting Master of the Paths too. But I ended up getting the double turn in round 5 and took it and was able to hold down enough of the remaining things that I, again, squeaked out another victory, 59-54. Yeah. We both got 3 tactics each, but I had more stuff on the board for objective control later in the game. So
that's a really interesting game, Matt, and good on you. It sounds like a great ground all the way. But the little moving pieces in this list, getting them all the points, keeping them in it after the knockdowns. That's great.
And I mean, do I win this if Bellicor isn't trapped on that green objective? Probably not. In my mind. A little bit, right? Because it's hard to know, right? But it allowed me to get.
You played the objective game. You played the scenario, which is the important part, and you played the movement game. And it's you made him as an infantry army bounce between 2 objectives he couldn't always control, and you were the cab jumping in and out.
Yeah,
I do think that's a good.
You did it right, man. You did it right.
Yeah, Strike and Fade is the exact counter against these sort of armies that I love playing it for.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I mean, I've been on the other side of this a fair bit. And I was going to say before you just mentioned it, it's like if you're sitting on the big blob of infantry, especially Chaos Warriors, you want them to come in, you want them to bounce a bit more than they want. And you're like, okay, you're here. You'll get ground down every 2 turns, piece removed. Instead, you're like, pieces never removed. I strike and fade other side of the board, and I recur a 5-1 model on a Yahtzee, and then I go wherever I want.
You're just like, okay, that hurt.
Yeah.
So at this point, I'm 4-0. I'm on top of the world. I'm like, I can't believe I'm 4-0, and I just beat, Scooter of all people.
You took a Walters brother out, man. There you go.
Yeah. Also of note, Caleb Walters was at this tournament.
Oh, cool.
He went 1-4. Not actually, because he was so excited to play the new Zinch book, which technically wasn't legal yet, that he asked each of his opponents, hey, are you okay if I play the new Zinch book with the list that I have, and I'll just give you a win where you score 5 points more than whatever.
Yeah, that sounds like him. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
like one way to do it.
Thanks to Caleb is going to get changes very quickly.
Yeah, and he's going to be so fucking ready on that new Zinch book. He'll reclaim being top Zinch player. Him and Beasley go back and forth as being 1 and 1A.
So,
yeah.
For anyone who's looking at the results and being like, why didn't Caleb win this? He should have won this. He would have won this if he was playing fully. I'm sure. He's that good of a player.
Oh god, yeah.
Let's see.
Don't downplay your 5-0 though.
Don't because
and I'm happy with how things went, and the players that I somehow beat as well. But the last round, I played Nick Rao, who I think is one of the best Cities of Sigmar players on the East Coast, if not the world. He knows that army inside and out. He's incredibly tricksy with it. I've played him at the top table at 2 or 3 different RTTs where it's just like, oh, I'm playing Nick. I'm not going to win top table here. Up until this grand tournament, that had been the case.
Okay.
I think somewhat luckily, Cities of Sigmar are not necessarily in the best place right now. He was playing a list that had a free guild cav marshal with 10 Scourge Gyron free guild cav. He had the command corps because, of course. He had 2 units of Wilder Corps hunters because he was playing scouting forces.
That makes sense.
And then his 2 other main hammers were a sorceress with a reinforced unit of executioners, a rune lord with 10 hammers, and then an alchemite warforger just chucked in there for other abilities, as well as Callus and Toll.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid without taking the cannons list for cities.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I was happy to not see Sinestra. And I was like, okay, maybe I have a shot here.
Yeah.
And that ended up being the case. He, being cities, I had fewer drops than him. He, I deployed
life cycles round 5.
Yes, life cycles round 5, which is great for him as a scouting forces army potentially as well.
Yeah. So also really good for you with trees.
Very good for me with trees because look at where I set my branch witch up right in the middle of the board.
Yes, you
Acorn of Ages, just drop that terrain piece right in the middle of the board that's tagging all 4 objectives.
Very nice.
Served me well over the course of this game, as we'll see. He, of course, started with Callus and Toll off the board. He had his Wilder Corps hunters as screens sort of mid-board. He had nothing on the left side of the board, since that's where I set up my Scourge on Seekers. He didn't want to deal with them early on, which I understand. He had the Free Guild Cav and the Command Corps sort of just behind his front screens, and then on the right side hand of the board, he had his 10 Hammerers with the block of 20 Executioners 6 or 7 inches behind, and they were also hiding the Sorceress and the Alchemite Warforger.
There to be the counter charge.
He chose to give the 3 intercept targets to 3 of his small heroes. The Sorceress, the Warforger, and the Rune Lord.
I get the Sorceress for the because you could ward with their specific bodyguard units, but why the Alchemite Warforger though?
Because I think the way he was playing it is he's keeping the Sorceress and the Alchemite Warforger just near that unit of Executioners the entire game.
Fair
somewhat
enough.
And his thought process also was to set them up on this
on the obscuring and the
terrain, so that if I charged either of them at any point, I'd be -1 to hit.
Okay.
Where this got interesting is Sylvaneth has, and I was running the Sylvaneth manifestations. Sylvaneth has a manifestation called the Glade Worm.
Yes, it does.
Glade Worm does.
Did you actually?
I did.
Yes, this is great.
And I instead of summoning a tree turn 1, I popped the acorn and then just tried to summon the Glade Worm every single turn from that point on. Because what it does is when you summon the Glade Worm, the turn you summon it during your movement phase, you can teleport it anywhere on the board outside of 9 of enemy units, but outside of 3 of enemy wizards.
Yeah.
And since he set up his wizards at the back, as we'll see after his turn 1, he moved up slightly on the board.
He got top of 1?
He had to. He had 5 drops and I had 3. So
you gave it to him. Yeah. Okay.
And then I redeployed my Seekers like 2 inches forward as well.
Yeah, take any movement you can. No, totally understand.
So he got scouting 1. He tagged the green objective. He's. I think he got 11 points in the top of round 1.
Sure.
So, in the bottom, I summoned the Glade
those are some
in the back lines. I did tag the Executioners with it so that he couldn't countercharge them into my Lancers, and then I also tagged the Sorceress.
Good move.
I don't think I got the Sorceress in this turn, and he killed the Glade Worm right after, but round 2, I summoned the Glade Worm again, got it into his Sorceress and the Warforger, and I think I killed one of them that turn as well in round 2.
Nice. And just to stop the counter charge is huge.
Yeah, that was huge. I saw that he had screens and decided to ignore them somehow this game. The Seekers, you'll note, were all the way back here in the bottom left sort of corner. Yeah. I knew that I needed to use the auto run 6 on the Lancers because I wanted to tag his free guild cav before they could charge.
He leaves you that hole, right? You gotta take it.
The Lancer, that's the thing. The Lancers don't hit as hard, but they can be tanky. And I knew that if I could tie up enough of... He's running scouting forces, right? So if I can tie up a bunch of stuff for one of his turns, that's one turn that he's not scoring scouting, right?
100%.
So I saw that pocket, and I'm like, I'm just going to tag as much stuff as I can. I tagged the Rune Lord, I tagged the Hammers.
The old Alpha Pin.
All of the cav. The surprising thing was my Seekers rolled a 12 to charge once again and took out 5 of the free guild cav on their own in the back line. I
just popped everything. Popped everything.
Nothing into the Wilder core. Being down to only 2, probably his second hardest hitting unit in the free guild cav after the Executioners.
Yeah.
2 models left was huge. I also kind of usually don't throw Belthanos in early, but I trusted him to, as long as I knew he gave the strikes last with the 5-up board to the Hammers.
Okay.
Which has worked well for him in the past, but usually more when he's running 20 Hammers instead of 10. So Belthanos is able to take out 5 of them, and that
stops a counter charge into your other bugs. This is good protection. It's good.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this was, bottom of 1. I think going into 2, he prioritized retreating his scouting forces and getting them set up for scoring in future turns, whilst also dropping Callous and Toll. They did some, I took damage to both of my bug cavalry units, but I was able to strike and fade one of them out. And then in bottom of 2, I was able to get Belthanos and Drycha into his Wilder Core Hunters, take out both of them, or do a lot of damage to them. Sent the swords into his Hammers and his Rune Lord, took out both the Rune Lord and the Hammers, and then got the Glade Worm back into his Sorceress.
Yeah.
So he was
meant that the only real, and I think I took out a few Command Core maybe as well between turns 1 and 2. The main threat remaining was the Executioners, and
Callous and Toll, and
Callous and Toll were not near to my Wizards that much.
Okay.
And because he had to deploy them back here, he had to deploy them to start taking out the Seekers.
Oh wow! Yeah.
In round 2.
That's
so
okay.
Because I had taken that objective by that point, so he needed to take it back with them, which he was able to do. But that kept them away from my Wizards, which felt great.
Seriously, yeah.
And then I rolled. We rolled for Prio going from round 2 to round 3, and I got the double turn. And by the end of round 3, he had, I think, his free guild cav marshal on the board, and that was it.
Aha, see? So, it was foreshadowing without even knowing it.
The foreshadowing was correct. The double turn came in clutch. I should have gotten Master of the Patch 3, but I think I was just a little giddy at that point and wasn't thinking about it. But I won 66-16 in the final round. So
that's
very solid victory.
That'd do it. That'd do it.
That's enough.
That's the Glade Worm maneuver right there, though. That's awesome.
Glade Worm was definitely MVP of that game.
And just break that down, because I think it'd be good for everyone. So it's, outside of 9 of other non-wizard units, but outside of 3 wizard units. So the fact that the wizards were slightly off to the back of their own, maybe 7-inch charges or something, or
6-inch charge, I think.
Exactly.
And it's like anti-wizard +1 rend, right?
It has anti-wizard on 6 dice. I think it hits on 4s, wounds on 2.
Yeah.
So if it's attacking a wizard, it's Ren 2 with D3 damage each. So those little 5 wound wizards with 5 up saves are not very happy fighting.
It's real good
for
against
the ward save and
MSU wizards.
Yeah, very nice.
It also has 7 health on a 4 up save with a 6 up ward, which is very strong for manifestations. So
not for nothing. Yeah. That is awesome, Matt. Well, congratulations. And this is like such a treat to have this level of detail and thought with a walkthrough. I mean, this is, I think, the new gold standard for how we do battle reports.
This is the new standard for everyone else who comes on the channel, right?
Yep. Everyone.
We're just going to
not us three.
This was the passion project that I've done this for setup, and I wanted to do it for me as well. So it was fun, and I enjoyed doing it. And, as always, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man.
Well, thanks for coming.
Congrats on the 5-0.
Thank you.
I gotta ask. So now that you've made it 5-0, what would you tell aspiring Sylvaneth players? How do you get to that point? What are the things that you think brought you up to a 5-0 level as a Sylvaneth player? Maybe not necessarily as a Warhammer player. But what did you work on with your army to get there?
It's a few different things. I think it's recognizing what units play well together. I think playing games is where you get most of these answers, right? So recognizing what plays well together, playing games. Does the branch witch rolling a 3-up actually help alter games where you get that strike first? In my case, I found that it did for a lot of things. And which units are going to feel better on the board for you? Are 6 Spite Rider Lancers going to feel like they, over the course of a game, do more damage than a Durthu model? For me, it felt like every time I brought Durthu, he was targeted down. It's play testing. A lot of it is play testing. So much of AOS in particular is like, you can read what an enemy's opponent's list does, and in theory see what it does in your mind. But until you play a Soul Blight list with 4 Dry and 10 Blood Knights, you aren't really going to know what it feels like to have to face down those 2 big scary units, especially if they kill something early on, or Vordry gets a strike first spell every single turn of the game, right? So it's, and I know, for you guys being on the West Coast in Seattle, San Francisco, wherever it is, and for us in DC, there are a lot of AOS players. So it is a bit easier to find people to play with and find a variety of armies to play against. And for people maybe more in Middle America or in smaller towns with just the one game store, that can be harder to do. Which is why I will encourage people to download Tabletop Simulator, maybe. But
join the Discord so you can start in our RTTs and GTs that we have. That was not meant to be turned into a line, but I appreciate it.
I got you.
I don't know, Matt, have we actually talked about TTS?
I've played it before, but we haven't done it together, no.
Okay,
I think I stumbled onto one of your intro videos about how to download TTS, and before I ever met you, maybe. But
that's so funny.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say, I'm the godfather of TTS because of how much I spread it for every fucking channel partnership I had with different YouTubers. And cool.
But genuinely, the more games you play with the army, the more you'll know. For me, I knew that Sylvaneth worked well I could see that, there's potential for this to do well if I keep honing it and figuring out what it does well against certain armies, what it does well against others.
Mm-hmm.
And then also just be aware that, you're not always going to have the luck. I had the luck that tournament, right? Mm-hmm. You can strategize, you can play as well as you can. If your opponent rolls 6s, there's not much you can do.
I mean, that is how you win games. You roll more 6s.
Yeah, the ultimate skill. Unlock the ultimate and you will win. But
I will also say that recognizing what armies are common in your area and what people like to play competitively, you can metagame things a little bit. I knew that Nick Rao was going to be there. I knew that he was going to be playing cities. I knew that Scooter was going to be there. I knew that he was going to be playing cities.
Him and his brothers show up to every big local thing anyway. Right? Just assume they're going. Them and all the bottom table bullies who are usually the number 2 club, if not the top club in the U.S. Yeah.
I knew that Harry was going to be there running Seraphon. I knew that 3 of the top hard to beat players are going to be running lists that this army specifically did well against somewhat. Theoretically. I didn't have the testing to prove it. Now I do. Yeah. If I had gone to a tournament that, there were 4 Cruel Boys players at, I'm probably going 1-4, 2-3.
Oh, yeah.
This list does not do well against Cruel Boys. It probably doesn't do well against a fully debuff Tzeentch or even maybe Nurgle list. Mm-hmm. Recognizing that, I think no matter what army you play, you can't beat every list. There's no way to plan to beat every list, and optimizing it to do well against stuff that you might face, or against the more common armies, whether that's Slaves to Darkness or Stormcast Eternals or Skaven, which are all have a lot of high percentage play right now.
Yeah,
there's things that you can do to help stack the odds in your favor a little bit, but just play games, notice what plays well for you, notice what you have fun playing with, and keep trying them out until you know exactly what to do with them in certain situations. Right?
I think that's the best advice.
Yeah,
when is a good time to charge all the way across the board turn 1, which 4 out of 5 games was great for me. Not so much in the other one, That's even at these big tournaments, you can still learn. So
sometimes you got to full fucking send it.
Hopefully that answered your question in a rambling sort of way, maybe. But
it's my favorite type of answer.
It's a good, always very explained answer, and you covered so much of the right ground with that. I think so. That was amazing, Matt. And one thing that I wanted to pick out from some of the stuff you said, which I think is really important, is it is ultimately that learning through doing, kind of like get some time on the table, or critically tabletop simulator if you need to find games at odd times, or it's harder to get like those plays you need. Because you got to get that.
Spend money on models.
Yeah,
I would try play before you first.
Play before you buy.
Please do not buy 12 bugs bug cavalry just because I did well with them in one tournament. Test them out of TTS.
Yeah, have a TTS tournament, play a bunch of games, get the feel. Speaking of which, got to shamelessly plug. I mean, we do the TTS tournaments in the channel and on the Discord, and we will start up another one in February. I'll be posting next couple of days. Hopefully, we get something going for near the end of March.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And thanks for getting me on the Discord. I definitely will keep an eye out for that. That sounds like a great time.
Awesome.
Thank Ricky, really.
Thank you, man.
Yes,
one of our Patreons.
Yes, there you go.
If you want to beat Matt's list with your Cruel Boys list that you came up just to take this Sylvaneth down, then that's a little cruel, and I think you should rethink your life. But
the funny part is, I know the one Cruel Boys player who would want to do that. I don't know that he has in a while.
I mean,
it's also Ricky, but
it is also Ricky. So what Ricky really wants to do, and I'm calling him out here a little bit, he wants to beat me with his wolf gits.
I know.
And
he worked with Mason on here to do his wolf gits, right? Too.
Mason's a good enough player against these sorts of armies that I think he could. Ricky is tired of playing my bug cavalry with his wolves.
He's so
it yucks his yum with the wolves a little bit. Like, oh, cool. Yeah. But it's funny.
The tournament that Ricky and I are going to this coming weekend, it's a doubles tournament at the small game store in Jersey. And is
Martin Orlando running that in South Jersey?
Say that again?
Is Martin Orlando running that in South Jersey?
No, a guy named Brendan is running it. It's in.
I know.
Maybe. I don't know.
Brendan from Jersey.
Yeah. No, I was just in Jersey for I had a baptism for a niece of mine. So that's actually why I wasn't at this GT. It was I had to go do that, which was a very cute time, but that's not the point here.
I got you.
Go on.
The list that we came up with, which I'm feeling a little bit bad about, is
what?
Ricky is going to run Cruel Boys. It's going to be a Swamp Calla Shaman with 4 units of Monster Killers, Scourge of Gyron, Gnash Tooth, and a Kill Bow.
Nice.
And I'm going to be running Gits, a squig boss with 35 point rock pounders.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
Yeah.
Someone will either have the exact answer that they need for that army or no answer at all.
You guys ain't getting sports.
Yeah.
Be polite. Be kind.
One of Ricky's goals for 2026 was going 3-0 at a tournament, and I said, "Hey, I've got an idea that could get us back."
That'll do it. That'll do it.
Definitely will do it.
We love that in the doubles format. If
we
y'all do good, we might have you on again too.
Yeah, maybe that would be fun. We haven't finalized that list.
We'll make Ricky do the PowerPoint though. He's a professor; he can do it.
And it would be fun to have like the doubles mentality kind of explored, but we don't do a lot of those, and it's really great to get those combos.
Doubles is such a fun idea, and
it is so fun.
I definitely am going to sign up for the doubles at Nova this year as well. I think that
nice.
I didn't realize that they do that at Nova.
Oh yeah, it's a whole thing.
Yeah, so I'm going to do the full package this year. I think that's
very nice. Very nice.
Yeah,
cool.
Man, I'm just trying to get an army ready. Jeez.
Man, you have so many painting projects.
Yeah.
But I still think
I have
go on.
4 units of monster killers that I'm slowly base coating right now.
You're painting them for him? Okay.
No, these are mine.
Oh,
I'm building a Karajan Overlords and a Troll Boys army.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
That's very nice.
I will say that all of my monster killers are bone splitters proxies because there's one, but monster killers aren't available online right now, and 2, I don't have the money to spend on.
I feel like I should do that with my now defunct bone splitters army. That would actually be a good idea.
Yeah.
Genuinely, just rebase, some of them on 40 mil bases for the monster killer champion, and you're good to go.
Oh, great idea. And we got hobby tips.
They had a bunch of quotable sound bites and great advice, all kinds of shit coming out of here, Matt. Oh, thank you so much for coming on, man.
Thank you so much for having me. This was a blast. We're at what, hour 15? That's pretty good time.
Nice little clip. A lot of valuable content, a lot of good nuggets in there, and honestly, a good ride. I really loved hearing about that journey, and congrats again, Matt.
Thank you.
We got to figure out the final word, though.
Yeah, we came to a good place. We'll cover that. Like, subscribe, all the other shit. But then we got to get more important here. What's the final word?
Is this on me?
It could be on you.
No, but if you wanna.
My vote's for Bugs, but you guys default first.
Final word. Oh gosh, I'm on the spot. Final word is, just play more games.
Hello, everybody. It is Rocco, your boy, coming at you once again with another Always Strikes Last promo. That's right. Ring that bell. Leave a like, a subscribe. On whatever platform you're listening to us on, be it YouTube, be it Podbean, whatever you got these days, so you can keep up to date. And don't forget, we have a Patreon if you want give us a thank you for all the stuff we put out. That gets you into our member-exclusive Discord. And if you want to be an even bigger supporter, we've got a merch store.